Well, good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with the Rhino. A little earlier than usual on these late night walks, but it is what it is, right? Yeah, so where are we going to start today? So, two things happened yesterday. That I want to talk about. First, one of the kids I work with through the John Howard Society. Now, for those of you that don't know, I do some talks with problem teens, kids that had the same problems I had when I was growing up, and I don't want them to make the same mistake I did. So, I do some work with them, but and a lot of those kids end up having my number and can get a hold of me if they really need to talk, and it's I'm there for them, so that they don't feel alone, and I try to teach them that they can get over their shit on their own. They don't need the support system that they think they need. Support system I thought I needed. If I had held on expecting that support system, I'd still be in the place I was 2 years ago. You end up having to make up your own mind on what you're doing and decide if that's what you're doing and go with it. But like I said, so I talked to these kids. Some of them had my number on speed dial. And while I was on break yesterday, one of them called me. And he called me. And he wasn't in his right frame of mind, shall we say. And he was talking to me about doing some bad things to himself. Now, at the time I was eating my dinner on my break, there was a couple cops down there too. So I'm talking to him, trying to figure out exactly where he is and everything. I get up and I walk over and I sit down beside the cops at their table. Don't say anything, just sit down beside them, take a napkin, and just start writing on the napkin. Start writing the kid's name, where he lives, what he's saying to me, and I'm having the cops look at me while I'm doing this. I think that's the first time I've actually had to do the full-on preventative measure. Usually, you just talk to the kids and you don't have to worry about it. What I heard at the end of the night was, and I ended up finding out at the end of the night that he was at one of the hospitals, and he had to be restrained at the hospital. So I'm glad he reached out. But at the same time, I'm glad that stuff was able to work out that way. Because if those cops hadn't been down there eating their supper at the same time I was, I don't know if somebody would have gone there in time to deal with him. I don't know how close he was. They wouldn't tell me that type of stuff. Other incident from yesterday. After I got off the phone with him, on my second break, a lady from the US calls me because she wanted to talk to me about her ex. 1 second, let's hope I don't get hit by this van. Let's just watch him as we walk behind him. There we go. So she called me to talk to me about her ex. She'd broken up with her ex-husband a year ago, and he had been cheating on her, lying to her, stealing from her, a whole bunch of other things, and he had claimed to her that he had PTSD, and that caused him to do the things he was doing. She was talking to me about a few things, and I was chatting with her. I'm chatting with her about BPD and NPD and PTSD and the regular symptoms of each of them and this and that and the causes of each of them. And she's like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like he has PTSD. I'm like, well, look, I work with some of these kids and I went through some of this stuff myself, but I don't have a medical degree. So just take me for saying this is what the books say. I don't know. And he would have to get his own help to figure that out. But from what you're saying, no, it doesn't sound like it to myself either. But again, I don't know. And we started talking. She's like, well, I want to get back with him, but only if he gets help. And I'm like, look, you can't force somebody to get help. If they don't want it, they're not going to get it. You force them to go and do it, and they're not going to take it seriously if they've been forced into it. They have to want to do it on their own. They have to want to do it on their own. And there's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that are scared or embarrassed or feel guilty or this and that, and they don't want to do it. And they won't do it. And the only way they will do it is if somebody forces them into it, and then they're not going to keep up with it. They're not going to actually do the work. They're not going to continue taking their pills if that's what they're put on. They're not going to go all in therapy if that's what they have to do. They're not going to take things seriously. They're going to do what they're going to do, and that's it. They need to want it. They need to need it. They need to be sure. They need to no longer want to be dealing with the pain or the stress or the disappointment or the craziness or the thoughts. They need to be at that point where they no longer want to deal with it. And unfortunately, like I said, there's some people that just don't want that. And we talked for about 45 minutes last night. And she's like, well, what do you suggest I do? And I go, look, I'm not here to suggest you do anything. I'm here for you to bounce things off of, and I can tell you what I think. I can tell you what my experience is. I can tell you what type of things he can use. But what you want to do is what you want to do. I can't tell you that. I can't decide that for you. I can't force that on you. I can't do any of that. Just like he needs to get help on his own, you need to make your decision on your own. You can't rely on somebody else to make it for you. And I don't know where she went with it. She texted me again today to thank me for talking to her. And I mean, that's what I'm here for. Again, I don't want anyone making the same mistakes I made. I don't want anyone dealing with the same shit I dealt with. So if I can help somebody, yay. And if I can't, well, I'm sorry that I couldn't help. It's a weird thing. I can be very articulate. I can. I don't always have the ability to do it, but I can be fairly articulate when I need to be. Somebody coming down the street. 1 second. But yeah. I can be articulate. I am caring. I am sensitive. I have all that stuff going. I'm empathetic. So my best friend's mother was talking to me one day, and she's like, maybe you found your calling in dealing with this stuff. I mean, you've read like 35 books on the shit now. You have that eidetic memory so you can remember everything you read, and you're really good at self-reflection, and you're fairly articulate. Maybe you found something you're going to be good at. And I don't know if it would be that thing. I mean, it makes me feel better when I can help somebody else. It makes me feel better when I see that glimmer of hope in an eye that, you know, somebody else understands what they're going through. And it's a nice feeling to know that you were able to do something for somebody else. Sorry. It's almost hailing out. It's like snow, but I think it's hail. It's a little more painful than the snowflakes. G'day, Maple Rusky. What's going on, Nikolai? Well, that is one of the problems, Maple Rusky. That's one of the problems that anybody that has anything wrong with them and has a lot of empathy goes with, is they want to help somebody else and they forget about working on themselves. I think for a long time, that's why I did a lot of the charity work I did. As much as I loved playing Santa for children's charities and all that, and as much as I love doing all that type of stuff, I think one of the main reasons I did it was to take some of the pain away from myself that I had felt. And that could be true. I don't know. 1 second here. I can't do anything right now. Brendan, I keep forgetting to make you an admin and I can't do it on my phone. So I'll do it one day soon. But yeah, so what you missed, Nikolai, since you came late, was I talked about some of the stuff that happened yesterday. One being one of the kids that I work with through the John Howard Society calling me and telling me he was going to commit something bad. He was going to do something bad. I have to try and think about how I word things, right? So I was sitting there at work and the cops were down there. The cops were eating their dinner too, and I went and sat beside the cops while I was on the phone with the kid, and I was writing down everything I could about the kid for the cops, and they ended up getting him before things happened. I'm guessing that because he's fine. He's not fine. He was at the St. Catherine's Hospital in restraints, but he didn't do what he wanted to do, so that's all that matters. And then a lady calling me about her ex-husband, saying I would do anything to help him. I would be with him if he would get help. And again, you can't force people to get help. That is a thing. This kid reached out to me for help. Hopefully he'll take it when the hospital offers it to him. But the hospital can make him do the stuff. But if he's not ready to do it, it doesn't matter that they're forcing him to do it. That's what it comes down to. It don't matter. It don't matter if you're not willing to do it. That's what it comes down to. If you're not willing to do the shit, it don't matter that somebody's going to make you do it. Because you're either going to half-ass it or you're not going to take it in. And there's just... I have a... What's that? Brendan, what are you doing Friday? You coming out with me and Al? We're going to Project Brew in St. Catherine's. Anyway, other than that, I think that's what this Heart to Heart was more about. Acknowledging that sometimes people want help, but they don't know how to accept it or to ask for it. They want it, but they don't want it at the same time. And it's a weird thing. You have to go through life believing certain things. One of the things you have to believe is that everybody is trying their best. It's not true. Not everybody is trying their best, but you have to believe that because you have to stay on that positive side. Because if you sit there and you look at somebody that, say, has BPD or NPD or major depressive disorder or dysthymia or bipolar or anything else, and you think they're not trying their best, you won't have any empathy for them, and you're not going to try and help them yourself. And that's the thing. You need to believe that everybody is trying their best, regardless of whether they are or not. You need to have that belief. We need to stop judging people is another thing. I've been out now for 7 weeks, Michael Rusky, and I kind of miss it, to be honest with you. I miss, and the thing is, I have an open file still at the hospital, so I can call and be like, you know what, I need somebody out to the house. I can do that anytime I want, but I'd rather people that actually really need it use it. I'm waiting for a callback for another therapy session called Coping and Happiness, which is for people that were abused or suffer from PTSD. I was abused. Doctors think I might have PTSD, but it mixes in so well with BPD that they don't know for sure. I don't think I do though. I do have anxiety attacks at times, but it's not panic attacks induced by thinking I'm going to die. And I don't get vivid flashbacks of the things that happened when I get vivid flashbacks, but not of the things that would have to have happened for that. Where's Jace Westcott? I don't see Jace Westcott. Jace isn't here right now, is he? Oh, I think Paul hacked Teku Murray there. Anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah. So the Coping and Happiness I'll be doing, I'm waiting as well to get into a group for doing things. A group for going out and doing things, because I don't get out. I kind of self-isolate. I don't self-isolate on purpose, but I still kind of self-isolate in that if I'm not with somebody, I don't really go out. And it's because there's not really much in walking distance of me, to be honest. What am I going to do? Go hang out at fucking 7-Eleven? Go hang out at the roofie bar? Like, where am I going to go? So I kind of self-isolate myself. And talk to you guys more than anything else. But there is one therapy group at the hospital that goes out. It's for people that self-isolate, and so I'm waiting on that one too. I should be getting my call for both of those sometime soon. And if I don't, I'm going to call back because it's been. I think I got out of my DBT in February or early March. Yeah, it was February or early March that I got out. No, it would have been February because it was before my last appearance. So, and my CBT was back in February as well. And my other DBT was a while ago. The John Howard Society stuff I did was last year. So it's been a while since I've done this stuff. Impact Niagara stopped coming in November. Impact Niagara was counselors that would come to your house. I stopped doing my work therapy stuff. I stopped doing that back in the summer. I can, now that it's the new year, call and start that again. Basically, you get 8 hours free a year. And I might do it. I don't know. Because there's things I have to talk about that I'm not allowed. I'm on a gag order, so there's things I have to talk about. So I might actually go through Chappelle for that, because it's stuff I have to get off my chest. I can't hold it in forever because it just eats away at you. Eats away little bit by little bit. I don't even really know if you can say there's positive progression any longer. Oh, there's the house. I don't know if you can really say there's positive progression any longer in the fact that, what would be the best way to put that? There's not really any progression right now. Things are in limbo. I'm done all the things I had to do. The things I'm doing now are things that I've decided I want to continue doing. I have 5 new books to read. Stop Walking on Eggshells, which is basically for family of people with BPD, but I'm still going to read it. I have the new updated dialectical behavioral handbook, so I gotta read through that, and the new dialectical behavioral workbook, which is the book you do all the work in after you do your lessons. I have another book by I now have another book again, just like Dr. Xanther is the one I'm going to for Coping and Happiness, and I have a book that's actually entitled Coping and Happiness, not by him, but it's about the same type of shit. It's about abuse and PTSD and moving on, and I have another book on dystemia that I'm going to be reading after I finish my next BPD book. And every book I read, I sit there and I have my pens, and I underline things, I circle things, I bracket things, and this is the stuff that I place into my memory forever. Stuff to use when I'm talking to the kids, not my kids, but you know what I mean, the kids I work with. Stuff to bring up when I talk to other people, like certain people that have my number from YouTube that have called me about some depression and BPD and other such things. I use that stuff as much as I can. I learn as much as I can about what I'm dealing with, and I put it into effect on what I'm dealing with, and go from there. What's going on, Black? I'm good. I'm just wandering the streets on my way home. And good night, Rusky. Have a good night. That's the 3rd time that vehicle's passed me. I have as much faith as I'm going to have. I mean, there's nothing that is wrong with the way I think right now. I'm in the best place I've been in since I was very young. So I'm happy about that. Best place I've been in since I was like 13, 14 years old, and I can't do anything but thank people for that. In all honesty, I have to thank my ex-wife for leaving, because I probably never would have gotten help if she didn't leave. Her leaving probably saved my life, to be honest with you. It probably saved everything about me. It brought me full circle to a place where I didn't think I was going to be. See, that's the thing. I've swallowed it already. I've accepted it. And I've accepted it and I've moved on. It was a weird thing, though. It took a while to accept. It did. I won't deny that. It is life. You are correct. I'm going to throw you guys in my pocket for a second. So things are going to go dark. They might go a little weird. I don't know what's going to happen. You're going in the pocket. What's going on? Yes, please. saw nothing. You saw nothing. See, I don't know what's Oh, the fat rhino's gone, man. The fat rhino's gone. He ain't coming back anytime soon. And I'm 100% A-okay with that. I'm actually excited about that, to be honest, that he is gone and hopefully not returning. I can't believe I let myself get to that point. Back when I was a national caliber wrestler and I was doing the strongman and the Highland Games and all that, my body was tested. Now, when they test your body, they do endomorph, mesomorph, exomorph. So one is the body that puts on fat, one is the body that puts on muscle, and one's the body that burns everything and just is a twig. And they're ranked from 1 to 7. So 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest. And I was rated to be a 363. So putting on muscle was what my body was meant to do. And the fact that I ended up becoming what I was there is somewhat disgusting, because that means I completely gave up on everything. That wasn't me anymore. It was something else entirely. And I attempted 2 suicides in my younger days, and I think that was my 3rd attempt without actually even realizing it. I think I was slowly eating myself to death and letting myself just rot and wallow away to nothing. The fact that it took so little time to get back to where I started at, well, not started at, I'm not there yet, but back to a point that I'm proud of is immense. Again, I went from a 48 to a 38. I went from a 3 or 4 XL mantering the shirt to a 1 XL. And I could fit into a 36 now if I really wanted to, but it would be tight as hell. Nobody wants to see that. I don't even want to see that. My life with women, still horrible, but that's going to be that way. I'm slightly different, and that's okay. It's acceptable. Have a good night.
You too.
And I mean, that's the thing, right? Yeah, it does, and I was surprised with how fast that muscle memory came back. But we'll see what happens. I actually did source out my tires. I've been looking for like 600-pound tires, and a buddy of mine who is a construction worker in Ottawa is going to be bringing me down some dump truck tires, some 700 and 800-pound dump truck tires when he comes down for my festival. So he's gonna try and get me 2 tires, 1 7, 1 8, and he might try and get me a 200-pound loader tire to carry around with me. So my powerlifting stuff will come up too. So that's where I'm going. I have those 2 therapies I'm trying to get into. I have the kids I work with. I have this. I have the festival. I have so much stuff on my plate. I probably have to knock things off, but I don't even know what to knock out of my world right now. I don't know what to knock out of my world right now, because I can't stop the working out, because that really helps with the depression. I can't get rid of the dogs. They helped with the depression. They keep me sane. I can't. There's so many things I can't get rid of that I don't know what to get rid of. See, and that's the thing. Me keeping busy is a good thing. Anyone with depression or BPD or NP, anyone with a personality disorder or anyone with depression, the worst thing you can do is let an idle mind happen, because that's when you start overthinking everything. That's when you start freaking out. That's when all that stuff happens. So I have to stay busy. I think I might be too busy myself, but I have to stay busy regardless. Anyway, guys, I'm like 200 feet from home, and my stuff should be ready in a second. I get chicken wings and tater tots. I give the tater tots to the dogs, and I eat chicken wings. I try not to eat at night, but today I'm hungry, so we're gonna eat. Anyway, guys, tomorrow I'm dropping off posters for the festival all over the area with Ashley, and then Friday I'm going to Project Brew in St. Catharines. So Project Brew, Niagara College's beer festival at the end of all their semesters. Anyway, guys, bye. Talk to you later. Thanks for coming.